All right, Brandon, you ready to do this thing?
Nope.
Well, we're rocking and rolling. Welcome to CAPECAST. We've got a pretty loaded show again tonight. If you guys had the patience, you tuned into our last episode where we reviewed the Snyder Cut trailer from DC Fandome.
Seemed like a lot of people had the patience. It was one of the higher viewed videos.
Quite surprised when you've spent an hour and a half breaking down 2 minutes and 30 some seconds trailer. You know.
Yep.
Color me surprised.
Hey, that just shows that there's a demand for it, baby.
Passion, baby.
That's right. Has nothing to do with us.
Nope.
Maybe a little bit.
Definitely not. Definitely not. So we just wanted to do another episode here this week to kind of do a roundup of all the DC Fandome, the first day of DC Fandome.
Indeed.
Yeah, it was I basically just camped out all Saturday on the couch and for whatever it was, 9 hours, and just vegged out in awesome DC content, which was about as good of a weekend as you could draw up. Did you get a chance to watch everything?
I don't even know what this is. What is this?
DC Fandome?
Oh, DC Fandome.
That. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I caught a good chunk of it. There were a few panels that I kind of had to do a little housework during, but that was, I guess, very strategically planned as far as when I was going to step away and when I wasn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the most part, I caught everything that I wanted to see for the most part. So
yeah, this is probably a case of me, you being the movie guy only, and I like some of the comic stuff. So I enjoyed some of the little shorts they did with Jim Lee, and I thought that was kind of cool. I thought there were several of those that they could probably develop like web series around. I know we kind of talked about the Jim Lee artist portfolio review or whatever they called it.
Right.
Where they basically had Jim Lee on screen working Procreate
somebody's art. I did get to see that. That was cool.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't want to see everything, and if I had the time, I definitely would have. I just had some stuff I had to do that day, so I didn't get to. I had to be selective.
Excuses. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
Sorry. But they had Variety came out with an article kind of reviewing the metrics of the day for DC, and they mentioned that the event itself had 22 million views.
That's a lot.
Which is nuts. And I've been kind of following the view counts on the official YouTube pages for Warner Brothers and HBO Max, and I mean they're still on the trending list several days later.
Nice.
So
yeah, I mean it definitely
all in all,
a big
huge
splash.
success. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how going forward this is. You got to imagine they do something similar after the success of this year.
Right. I mean, we already know that they're doing the remainder of the panels in September, but I mean, with how much positivity that surrounded this event, and just how well it worked. Honestly, I mean, it could have been a disaster. I mean, the whole Comic-Con from home thing was very underwhelming,
right?
And and they also just didn't have a lot of high profile content either. That was another problem with theirs.
Sure.
But no, I mean, this is definitely something that I think they should definitely capitalize on going forward. But I hope, I would love to think and hope that in-person Comic-Con type experience will be able to come back around, because I was fortunate enough to go in 2012 and it was awesome, and I would love to go again, especially now that my daughter is kind of getting into this kind of stuff, and I would love to take her to something like that in the future. So hopefully,
I think there's always going to be when I say that, I don't mean that it's the end of conventions like that. I think there'll always be a niche market for it. And
yeah, I just wonder about the high profile stuff, because if you watch the trend, they've kind of like started, these studios have kind of learned that they don't have to go to Comic-Con to make a splash. Right. They can do things like this, like Disney. Seemingly like every other year, Marvel would skip Comic-Con and they do like a D23 or like I know one year they did a big like event at the El Capitan and just did a live stream of that and announced all the stuff and showed a lot of promo stuff and in lieu of not going to Comic-Con that year. And so those kind of things are cool. And then, trust me, I'm not complaining, because being able to like just be at home and watch this versus having to follow somebody's live blog on Twitter that's at Comic-Con, tweeting about it, and then posting like, you know, like the videos that are exclusive to Comic-Con.
I just saw Batman on screen.
Yeah.
He's fighting somebody. We can't tell who it is. Yeah. He's somebody in orange.
Yeah. So this is definitely a cool thing to do. And it bodes well for them just being able to kind of use it as like a reward to their fandom. And
I mean, also obviously they were somewhat limited this year because of COVID, but you can imagine how much fun they could have, like controlling that environment totally with all the actors that they've got contracted. And like if they were able to do like an in-person production, it could be totally awesome. Yeah. Even more awesome than it was this year. So
I think there's just something to say about having a crowd like in a Hall H type experience, because I've been in that room, and you get it's another level of fandom there, because it's just
I'm sure that's something that me and Katie always talk about doing, but haven't made it out.
Yeah, I know. Well, every year since 2012, I've said this is the year I'm going back, and then it's like I don't want to spend the money. It's got to take the vacation. It's like something always gets in the way. Yeah. But yeah, it's a cool experience. But I mean, I just imagine that Comic-Con it had kind of become a entertainment platform versus a comic expo, and I feel like they're just going to start kind of getting back into that, because the studios are realizing they can do things like this, which is cool though. I mean, that's the thing that I always said. When I went to Comic-Con, we stayed in Hall H the whole time. We didn't really get a chance to like check out the floor, the exhibition hall as much, and so I always said, if I go back, I want to spend less time in Hall H and more time in the exhibition floor, visiting the vendors, talking to, the comic retailers and stuff that they have set up, and just, I guess experiencing that, because the Hall H thing gets a little numb after a while, honestly. Yeah. So, but
no doubt.
Anyway, we're not talking about Comic-Con. We're talking about DC Fandome.
Yeah, that's right.
You want to walk through the panels, or?
Yeah, for sure. Did you have anything that, I guess, before we get started on, and the three that we'll be hitting on for the most part tonight are Wonder Woman 84, Suicide Squad, and the Batman, and then obviously we can touch on Black Adam and Shazam, but the more content was put out for those three, so there's just a little bit more to dive into. Did you have any we'll exclude the Snyder Cut for since we just spent an hour and a half.
We can include a link below in the description.
Yeah. Was there any moment that stood out to you other than the Snyder Cut stuff?
I mean, the biggest thing other than the Snyder Cut was definitely the Batman panel in the trailer.
For you? No way.
Yeah, I know. Shocker. I mean, there was so much stuff. There were a lot, like there were definitely things that were a little, like, yeah, that's cool,
Yeah.
to see. But as far as like big impact, definitely the Batman, and we'll get into the details and as to why later. I mean, I didn't get to catch the Wonder Woman panel. I did see the trailer because I wasn't home in time to see it, and I didn't get the rewatch. But I liked a lot of the game announcements. And the Suicide Squad panel was cool. Obviously, I mean, and like I said, and we'll get into detail about a lot of the details of this. The Flash stuff was pretty cool. It was pretty, it was pretty short.
Right.
But hearing those guys talk about what's in store for that, it just opens up so many avenues that I'm pretty excited about. So, what about yourself, Ryan?
I think for me, I would agree with you. The Batman was number one. Behind Snyder Cut. Just, and like I said, we'll talk about it in detail later, but it's going to be a real unique feeling Batman movie. And then probably the second biggest thing was the Black Adam stuff. The Rock that dude just so charismatic. He could be
a showman.
Lettuce up there, and
yeah,
I mean, and on top of that, I'm being Superman fan. We kind of got.
Were you let down that there was no Cavill appearance? I mean, there was a Cavill appearance technically, but not in that panel.
I wasn't.
They did name drop him. I mean, Black Adam.
I wasn't really. I guess I wasn't really expecting. I was hoping, but I wasn't like realistically expecting him to be there.
Sure.
And we got as good as confirmed that he'll probably have some involvement in that movie.
Either teed up in that movie or paid off in a sequel.
Which is, as long as I'm getting it, I'm happy.
Yeah. True words.
So that's right. So those were probably my two favorite panels of the day. Biggest surprise of the day for me was how into the Suicide Squad I am now.
Yeah.
And we kind of talked about in the last episode how I was just kind of
unsure.
I don't know, not feeling it just from what the very minimal stuff we had seen and heard, but that movie's going to be so fun.
Yeah, I mean,
they're basically treating that whole cast as a kamikaze cast, and it's just going to be mayhem.
Right. It's and we'll get to it, but yeah, it's definitely I dug everything they had to say about it, and it seems like it could be a real bonkers, just like just insanity. Well, I mean, it's a natural fit for James Gunn. I mean,
sure,
seeing what he's done recently. But I mean, that was exciting. I have more to say when we get there, for sure.
All right, so I guess we can kind of dive into the Wonder Woman trailer if you want to do.
So do we want to go like beat for beat, like just run down, like kind of just like brief like thoughts on the main panels? We're going to do the trailers. Sure.
Yeah.
So you just want to hit like highlights.
So I will say this. They had two Wonder Woman panels throughout the day. One was
one was good.
Yeah. And then
one was pretty even some of the cast were pretty over that panel.
Chris Pine looked like he was about to take a nap on screen.
Yeah. It was some major yawns coming from Chris Pine during that panel.
Yeah. And
I feel you, man. That was brutal.
It was just like yelling.
It was like right before the Batman panel too. It was like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so
it was cool to see Linda Carter come on in the first panel.
Right on.
I love how they're really like leaning into this whole multiverse concept, like everything that you've seen in the past, everything you will see connected. So I thought it was kind of a cool, and not like she was directly mentioned as being connected to this Wonder Woman, but it was just kind of implied. It was a cool little nod to her.
Yeah.
Did you anything from the panel that stood out to you?
Nothing at all. I didn't watch it.
Oh, good. So then we can jump right into the trailer for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't able to catch it. I just watched the trailer. I just didn't. I mean, here's my stance on this movie right now. I'm already like, I don't really want to know more than I need to know. You know, we're so close. Well, we think we're close to seeing it. We should have already seen it. I'm typically pretty.
We got a trailer after the release date.
That's funny.
The original release date.
I'm pretty trailer averse, especially for things I'm already bought in on. But now that we're doing a movie podcast, I guess I kind of can't be that way as much anymore. So that's gonna be difficult. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. If you wanna run the trailer, we can go ahead and do that. I guess that makes sense. We just do the trailers as they come.
Yep.
So,
sounds good.
Let me pull it up.
All right. Give me a countdown and I'll fire away.
3, 2, 1, play. So I mean,
the Hippolyta intro here. One of the things that was lacking in the original content that they released for this was I just felt it was so different from the first movie, which I loved. So the beginning of this trailer really kind of like pulled me back into that.
Yeah, I'm glad we're going back to Themyscira. So it was just such a iconic location from the first one.
And Pedro Pascal, I don't think I've ever seen anything that he's done that I haven't liked.
Oh, yeah,
so
he's great.
Looking well to him as Maxwell Lord.
Yep. Steve Trevor back. I mean, we already knew that, but it'd be interesting to see how that happens. I mean, we kind of have a good idea with the Maxwell Lord kind of granting wishes. What do you want the most, and seeing how that. I mean, it seems like they're teeing that up for Diana having to lose him again. We imagine at the end. Barbara.
Also get our first look at Cheetah coming up here.
Yeah, in a little bit. Our first look. We've never seen it before. First look ever. I'm excited to see what Kristen Wiig brings to this role, because I do like her, and I haven't seen. I know she did like, she's done like a couple serious roles, but typically comedic actors, do pretty well with drama.
No, so, yeah, I mean I'm looking forward to it as well. Nothing that I've seen in any of the. There we go.
Indeed.
Any of the trailers that they've released has turned me off his performance.
My only complaint with the cheetah, I guess design, not even really the design, I don't feel like it looks much like Kristen Wiig in the face.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because the shots are the more like action-y, like CG. I mean, that's another thing. I assume that her quote unquote suit is CG. I don't know if there's any practical elements in it. If she actually has some,
it certainly does not look like it.
Right.
But obviously we did see an effect sequence. So
who knows
if they, shot her in any practical wear. Yeah. So one thing it was cool. Like it was cool to actually see Cheetah. One thing that I was kind of, when I saw her, I was kind of like, are we going to get like a cat situation here?
Yeah.
Because it does kind of have that feel a little bit. And I know there's not really any way to like necessarily get around it. It's just kind of an unfortunate timing thing.
Indeed.
And I did one thing I'm a little worried about is kind of what we were talking about. Is it looking a little too CG? Like the way she moves, like her hair just kind of looks like it's like Aquaman style,
floaty.
where it's like in water or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
So
it doesn't look the best in terms of
Yeah.
Fidelity. There's just a little bit of like, and I think it's probably got to do with the way the movement is on display.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look as realistic.
Right.
But I'm excited for it. I'm a sucker for
Oh, yeah,
80s,
for
and
sure.
80s is super hot right now. As far as there's a big revival of the 80s going on with
Sure.
so many things. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I just want to see it.
I like this trailer a lot better than the first, for sure. I still have, and I sound like a broken record saying it. I fear bad comedy in DC movies now,
Especially knowing when this one was made.
Right.
It was made during the Jeff Johns, like, let's try and mimic Marvel era.
And, I take a little bit of solace in the fact that it sounds like Patty Jenkins crushed the first one. So I'm sure they gave her more of a, like, okay, do your thing.
Sure.
And there was humor in the first one. It was a little bit of a role reversal with Steve Trevor and her in the first one, where she was out of her element. Now he's out of his element.
Yeah.
But I just after Aquaman, I'm a little afraid of that.
I'm right there with you. I mean, we have the same kind of sensibilities when it comes to that. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. But
like the at the end of the trailer there, the parachute pants joke, I'm just like,
yeah.
Come on, we can do better than this.
Sure. I feel you.
But who knows? Maybe that's the only bad joke.
It seems like they just, I don't know. Those studios are just like, we got to have these like 4-quadrant type, lines that are just like kind of, a little.
Studio did. Could be different now, Brandon.
Different now. Yeah, I hope so. A little more, general audience humor, so to speak.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm sitting here criticizing the trailer. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I honestly just want to see this movie at this point.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's well past its release date. I'm just like, come on. Or original release date.
Seemed like, from what I read, it seemed like they mentioned a few times about like an insistence on it being theatrical still.
So that's good. Good sign.
Yeah. So hopefully so. I mean,
all right.
Yep.
So
next
anything
song.
else on that one, or you want to?
Not really, man. I mean, I don't have a ton to add on this one. I'm just I haven't, this trailer, this is the second time I've watched the trailer. I didn't rewatch it because I'm just trying to like not ingrain myself with, scenes from the movie, because I just kind of want to go in as unspoiled as possible. And at this point, there's really no point in trying to be, I'm going to see it. So,
yep.
I don't have to sell myself on it.
All right, so let's dive into the Suicide Squad a little bit.
Before we get to that,
yeah,
let's do a little bit of a detour. I want to go back to, so I figure we could just knock this thing out, like highlight the panels, and the panel after Wonder Woman was the Gotham Knights panel.
Sure.
I wanted to touch on that for a second. Because there were a few panels before the Suicide Squad that were pretty interesting. But yeah, I know you're not like a player of the Arkham games yet, but we're gonna get you there. And I think we should do a series. We should do an Arkham series playthrough and let you kind of recap them for us.
We'll start a Twitch channel.
We'll talk to Ray. Let's see what Ray. See if we can get a
Ray
little
Fisher. He knows how to do that.
Yeah.
No,
but
I texted you when I saw the.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for this one. There are very few. Brandon knows there are very few video games that I get excited about. The last one was really the Spider-Man game.
Yep.
And then this one gave me the same kind of feel.
I want to put this out there. Anybody that's listening, comment below, reach out and say, Ryan, you need to play the Arkham games. For the love of God, please play them.
If we get over 10 comments, then I'll play the first game.
Okay. 10 comments.
Right.
You heard it.
Yeah.
You need to play them, man. They're amazing games. There's actually 4 of them, but you have a PS4. There's 3 of them on the PS4. So it'd be pretty easy for you to play through. And if you like the Spider-Man game, it's very similar in terms of gameplay. You'll love it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, this game looks cool. I like the 4-player co-op. I believe I read an article today saying that it was actually going to be 2-player simultaneous. It wasn't like 4 individual people, but there are 4 characters on screen at a time, except for, I guess, some levels only will have 2 or 3. I don't know. They'll probably divvy it up. But yeah, it seems like it's mainly 2-player co-op for the campaign. But
sure,
it looks cool. I mean, I have a few quibbles with a few of the skins for the suits. Like, I'm not a big fan of the Robin suit, but I think there are like,
I love that.
I was not a fan of that.
So it reminds me of Damien, and I don't know if you watched the animated movies with him recently. But
I did. I played Injustice 2, and he's in that. But I mean, I liked his outfit in Injustice 2. But I don't know. I knowing the nature of these games, I imagine there will be different skins for the suits, and I can just change it to one that I like.
Yeah.
I just wasn't a fan. That's a minor quibble, but the gameplay looks cool. I mean, they're using the same engine, I imagine, as the other Arkham games, even though this isn't set in the same universe as the Arkhamverse, so to speak.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Which it's kind of random that they are doing that, but maybe they just want to tell a story unconnected and have some liberties, which is cool. I mean, like I said, multiverse, so
sure,
it's everything, even in the games.
I love the Red Hood, so that is super intriguing to me. You know how I feel about Nightwing.
Yeah, I do.
I honestly, of all the characters in the game that I saw, I liked his look the least, surprisingly.
Nightwing?
Yeah. I mean, this one just looks fun. I enjoyed how the cutscenes are cool, fun to watch. Trailers like that are fun to watch, right. But I enjoyed like actually seeing the gameplay.
Yeah,
that's what got me like.
That was the first thing that I watched. Was the gameplay demo.
Yeah.
And that's what I showed Luna, and they start off with Batgirl, and of course she's like, "You get to play as Batgirl," because she likes playing Spider-Man with me, and she likes playing Injustice, and she's always, anytime we play Injustice, she's always picking, Batgirl, Harley, Wonder Woman. She never picks a dude. So even when we play Spider-Man, she picks. There's like a Neo like white suit Spider-Man that looks a little bit like Spider-Gwen, so she picks that one so she can act like it's Spider-Gwen. Super feminist.
At least your daughter can play them. Every time Katie tries to I tried to get Katie to play Spider-Man. It was just like 15 minutes of like Spider-Man falling down the face of a building going like this.
Right.
You know what I'm talking
Can't
about?
control the camera. Yeah. That's Luna's only like hard thing. She's like having a hard time grasping like how to use the right stick for camera, but she's getting there.
Yeah.
Progress.
Hey.
But no, this game looks cool, man.
Like,
I mean, I'm excited for it. Did they announce a date for it? I didn't actually
that's a good question.
To see when that was actually coming out.
Let's see.
I imagine it is.
I don't see anything on here.
Yeah. Don't remember if they did, but
either way, this is like I said, this is the one. This is.
It says 2021.
I felt this way when the Spider-Man game was announced, and haven't felt that way since. So I'm excited about this one.
Cool.
I was a little, and I guess we might as well talk about the Suicide Squad game too while we're in this category.
Yeah, sure, we can.
you've played the Arkham games, and I know that one is based in that world, right?
Yeah, which is, if you would have told me that one of these games was set in the Arkhamverse and one wasn't, I would have said the actual opposite, because it just Gotham Knights looks like it's just in that universe. I mean, just to a T.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game doesn't. And the Arkhamverse hasn't had any Superman content, hasn't had any, like, outside of the Batman verse. They haven't really had any interaction with any of those type of characters in the DC universe. I mean, Harley has been in there, Killer Croc, which he's not in this version of the Suicide Squad, or not on face value at least. Really, yeah. I mean, Harley's the only one that's kind of in this game that as far as the trailer is concerned.
Yeah.
But it honestly, because we've been playing Injustice 2, and they kind of start the trailer off with Brainiac's ship and all of his minions, and it looks just like Injustice 2. Like, that Brainiac ship model looks exactly like it. The Superman character model doesn't. The Superman character model doesn't. But
yeah,
it seems like it's emerging the two.
I enjoyed the trailer itself. I got a little when they start equipping to each other on the rooftop. I was just kind of like, all right, I get it. Like, it's just like, it's like video game dialogue to me. It's not like,
right on,
super well written.
I got you. I don't know. It worked for me. I liked it. I thought the relationship dynamic was cool, and
sure.
I want to see
you're
the
more
gameplay.
of a,
I want to see
in a better place to judge it than I am.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's going to be very similar in gameplay dynamics, and as far as, like, compared to Gotham Knights, where you got 4 players and you can switch between them, I assume, at any point, just like you can in Gotham Knights. And they have different skill sets, different skill trees, and things like that.
But I will say I enjoyed the way it was bookended. Obviously, when it opens with Brainiac and finishes with Superman. So, being made
evil Superman, people are going to lose their minds. They can't take it. Watch out,
Not
world.
my Superman.
Nah, it looks cool. I'm excited to see gameplay for it, but I feel like this game's a good ways off.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
So do you have any more video game stuff you want to dive into?
Nope.
If you've got the schedule in front of you, you can kind of man the ship.
I mean, I guess the next notable panel, at least for me, and if you have any other ones, was like the multiverse panel, just kind of teeing up the idea of the multiverse for TV, film, that kind of thing.
I loved having, that was the one with Hamada and Jim Lee, right?
Jim Lee and and Berlanti.
Yeah, there was some cool. It was cool to following this stuff as closely as we do from, like, a distance. It was cool to actually, like, hear kind of how they internally discuss things and how they refer to different things. And I can't even remember specifically the stuff that was said that I thought was cool, but there were a couple of moments that I was like this is kind of cool to
I know I remember them talking a lot about how Ezra Miller's Flash cameo came about for the TV show in Crisis.
And them talking about him actually getting his name in the TV show versus the movie.
Oh, cool too. Which I thought was definitely really cool and so intentional and so, like, so interesting, knowing, like, seeing that Jim Lee was like, all right, we're going to go ahead and lay the groundwork here because in the next year or so we're going to start introducing some things, so we want to just like kind of
I remember when that clip came out, you said it to me, and I was like, well, this is random.
Yeah, right. And I remember there being so much, like, like, even then, like, people were, like, kind of theorizing, like, well, this could have major implications going forward.
Right.
If they're setting this up now, and it obviously was intentional, and it obviously is going to have implications.
Right.
But yeah.
No, it's
pretty cool.
It was cool it was kind of cool to see how they're setting things up and using Jim Lee as that like kind of conduit to connect comics to film. And you know, if you were gonna pick any guy to do it,
it's a good one.
Be the guy.
Indeed.
So yeah, that was a cool. I'd kind of forgotten about that panel. That was cool.
Yeah. So I mean, and then right after that, they went straight into the Flash movie, which was only a 10-minute panel, but some pretty cool stuff. Had
the concept art was cool.
Annie, I guess Muschietti is how you say his name.
Yeah.
His sister, who everybody says is his wife because they have the same. They just assume that they're like Hollywood couple, but they're brother and sister.
I love the It movies, so
yeah.
I'm interested to see how. So it's kind of threefold for me. Obviously, he was kind of a comedic character in Justice League. I think that's going to change a bit in the Snyder Cut.
He'll definitely be the.
I know he's
going
to be the lighthearted of the group, but
yeah,
you know, he was just kind of over the top and the theatrical. And then how that ties into Muschietti's, who have that horror sensibility too. Could be kind of cool. And then, you know, them obviously getting Batman involved with that story too.
Yeah, it's gonna be really cool to see how far they take that whole multiverse concept. And
I mean, the next date, the second day of Fandome, they're calling it Explore the Multiverse. They're just, it seems to me like it's all in. So
well, I mean, I'm talking about like the Flash in particular, that film.
Gotcha.
how much they kind of go into it with it.
Sure.
So
we know
that we're getting Keaton. We know that we're getting Affleck. Which is
there was some concept art released featuring Keaton's Batman, which was cool, and the new suit.
They didn't mention Keaton by name, but they did show that concept art. They also didn't mention Affleck, but it seems like when they recorded this, the Affleck thing wasn't a done deal.
Right.
Which is, I guess, why they announced it pre-Fandome.
And did you ever we kind of texted when that came out. We were both thinking the same thing. We were like, what does that suit remind me of in the concept art?
I've been looking, I've like Googled like superhero suits. Organic.
Last night I landed on, I was like, is it Green Lantern? So I looked at Green Lantern suit and I was kind of like, maybe?
Yeah.
I don't know. Why am I doing this?
I don't know what it is about that suit. It is familiar for some reason. And if anybody has any, I guess, idea
it's the lines, like the light lines, then like seismic chart looking feel to it.
There's something that's very, I don't know. It's familiar, but I can't put my finger on it.
Tron? No, it's not Tron.
Yeah, I was thinking it might not even be a superhero movie. It could be just some like, suit that they wear like Pacific Rim or some other like movie, like sci-fi movie that I just am not thinking of. But but yeah, I dig the suit.
It looked cool though. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see like an actual practical version of it versus whenever I for whatever reason, I judge my Flash suits on what the head mask looks like. I don't know why that is, but I dug the ears on this one, and I like Snyder's. It was cool, but I do like the more classic non-armored look, and I don't really even have much experience with Flash comics. All of my opinions are based on like animated stuff I've seen. Yeah. Well, as far as the suit is concerned, it seemed like this suit. I mean, they mentioned this in the panel that it was going to be, Bruce helps him make it because,
Right. Yeah.
or either makes it for him.
Yep.
We know that Barry made his JL suit, and I remember even before that movie came out, Snyder was talking about how he didn't want, just like with Aquaman, he didn't want to kind of establish. He wanted to like give a like entry level suit or have a I guess a story element saying how this particular suit was the version in that movie, and then allow the directors of the solo movie to kind of get creative freedom to kind of introduce their actual like real suit, which is cool.
I would believe that, or I would tend to believe that it's Keaton who helps him build the suit just because, or makes the suit for him just because that's the concept art they showed. But who knows? It could be an Affleck thing.
They showed concept art of the two of them together, but I don't think that necessarily means that it's Keaton that makes the suit.
Sure, I
personally lean towards Affleck, but
I think it's the way that they phrased it, where they said we do have some concept art of his new suit that we can show you, and then he was kind of in the back. Batman was kind of in the background, and they mentioned that.
No, I mean,
but I get what you're saying.
I feel like, I don't see this suit. If it's Keaton's Batman, it doesn't feel like a Burton inspired suit.
Right.
So I feel like it feels more like a little more sleek, and a little more modern. Something that Affleck's Batman would have designed. Personally, that's just what I think. So we'll see.
Sure.
We'll see. We'll bookmark this and we'll see who's right.
That's right.
Put it out. Need that clout, baby.
You need every win you can get, Brandon.
Yeah. Every little bit helps.
Remember when Lex Luthor wasn't in Justice League? Remember that?
Mm-hmm. I still stand by it because he wasn't supposed to be. They added it in the last minute.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Come at me, bro.
Zack Snyder might disagree with you, but it's all right.
No, that's not. That's so good.
Yeah. Semantics.
All right. Now we can get to the Suicide Squad.
All right.
The Suicide Squad, which, Ryan, I don't know why, but I just have a problem with them calling it the Suicide Squad. It just seems like such a diss to Air to me. I know that Gunn and Air are friendly, and they've both endorsed each other, but I feel like it's a studio move, and that calling it the Suicide Squad, it's just like, I know that, and I'm not the biggest fan of the original movie, the version that came out, but that movie made a lot of money, especially for it not opening in China, which is like number 2 market for movies. It's like,
that's one thing you can't say about any of the original DCU movies. Like, they made cash,
right? I just feel like that studio is just like, because it got
this one too. Kind of reeks of kind of what we were talking about earlier with the Wonder Woman deal, where this one really got put in the works before all of the recent changes, and I feel like that's something that powers that be could have just been like, we're resetting.
Yeah.
And this is how we're going to do it, and this title was a result of that.
Sure.
But I agree with you, like, especially since you have returning characters, I don't really see a need to,
in such a short amount of time, like from the last one. It's like,
it also seems
it's not like it's coming out like 10 to 15 years after the last movie.
Right. And it also seems like it's I guess what you're saying is what I'm trying to get at. Like, it's not like this is something that came out in 2008 and they're just trying to
but it's a move. It's a move for a studio to kind of be like, we ignore that other one,
right.
Like with Wolverine, X-Men Origins or whatever, and the Wolverine. They were like, all right, this is the Wolverine movie. Don't think about that other one. We don't talk about that one.
Yeah. At all, because it is so close to, it's almost like, it's kind of confusing to people who don't follow closely, Like, wasn't there just a Suicide Squad movie?
Right.
Oh no, this is the Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What was the last one?
Suicide Squad.
Yeah. And this is the. Yeah. You get it.
Yeah. But anyway.
I mean, it was a cool, that super charismatic cast. So made for.
Do you think they all gave each other tattoos again, like they did on the last movie? Do you think anybody like sent like anal beads or like rats and other things?
God, those stories are out there. So they kind of opened their content. They kind of opened with a like character video where they like finally announced who's playing what. Yeah. Which everybody online had just kind of been speculating, like, I'll bet this guy's playing this character. Mm-hmm. Give their reason.
Everybody thought that Idris Elba was playing Bronze Tiger, which was wrong.
John Cena's character stood out to me. I think that's going to be hilarious.
His outfit was the goofiest.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about like worried about goofy looking outfits, like his looks like it came off of like Jingle All the Way or something. Yeah. Like it was like Turbo Man.
That's what. So what overcame that for me, and like I said, I was worried about all the set photos that came out of the kind of dorky looking outfits, but they made it very clear that, I mean, Joel Kinnaman said, "Don't get too attached." Well, they're gonna off a lot of these characters, so no doubt it's that it almost makes me like it more that they look so dorky. Some of them,
sure,
just because
that's an interesting turn for you.
No, I know, and I know it has kind of been out there that this is, people are going to die in it, but I guess just seeing the chaos of the sneak peek that they showed and having the cast talk that way and Gunn talk that way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do we think about the rating? Do we think they're going to push for an R on this one?
I possibly hope so. Yeah. Just because like this movie looks like pure chaos.
Yeah.
And I think pure chaos is going to be best.
I hope so. I'd be all for it. I mean, yeah. Utilize the R. Don't pull a Birds of Prey and just like say a few F words and then, do nothing with it.
Yeah. Birds of Prey is a bad word, Brandon. Let's not do that.
Okay. Sorry.
Any other castings that stood out to you that you thought was cool or surprising?
Well, I will say this. So the King Shark, they made a reference to Steve Agee being King Shark on set. They didn't say that he was voicing him. When the panel was going on, I was like, that means that they're going to like do some sort of stunt casting a la like Rocket Raccoon, where, you had James Gunn's brother doing the on-set Rocket. Bradley Cooper does the voice in post. Mm-hmm. Now, when they first announced the cast list, when they started filming, Taika Waititi's name was listed on that cast list, but was not mentioned in this panel as far as who he's playing. So, interesting. Me thinks Taika Waititi is doing King Shark, which just seems
kind of surprising.
I don't know, man. I mean, you think Taika Waititi? Yeah, you think about King Shark. I can totally see.
But when I think of King Shark, I just think of like booming vocals.
Yeah, but think about like, I mean, I know what you're saying, but coming from Taika doing Korg,
I'm not gonna put anything beyond his. He could easily crush it.
We already know just by Twitter. I sent you a screenshot of two girls back to back on my Twitter timeline, both just oogling over King Shark's like design and how cute he was. They're totally gonna get Taika Waititi to do a like cool like Kiwi voice and just make him adorable. And so it's just like it just reads so much to be that. But we'll see. He could. Some people think that he could be playing the villain.
Yeah.
But
which, by the way, well, I guess we'll talk about that after the trailer. There was kind of a hint at who the villain could be.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it Starro or something? Is that his name?
It is, yeah.
I don't know who that is.
It's basically, which would make sense to me in a movie like this because Starro can basically is mind control. So I see if they use him, I see him as being kind of like turning everybody on each other, which would make sense for this kind of movie. But
cool,
who knows?
He said it's like his biggest movie so far as scale.
I know,
and that's another thing, man. Being that production is wrapped on this movie, I'm so surprised we didn't get a trailer.
Yeah,
there just must be a ton of post work that needs to be done before they can feel confident releasing something. But
I can see that there's a lot of Victor Stone pajama characters on set for this one.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, I mean, I can see at least one of those. The weasel.
Yeah, and that one I'm looking forward to. The shot in the trailer where he jumps up on the jail glass window.
Yeah,
I feel like that one could be fun. So do we want to go ahead and before we start talking about I feel like we're kind of starting to talk about trailer stuff before we've seen the trailer or before we've shown the trailer. So,
are we? You want to talk about the behind the scenes? I mean, this is more of a featurette than a trailer.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry,
but
I misspoke there.
It's okay. We're not all perfect. I mean, it's all right. It's an easy mistake, but I mean, just
that
do
it
better.
is. That it is, Edward.
Do better. But yeah, we can do this.
All right, give me a countdown.
3, 2, 1, play. So the thing about this one is they talk a lot. So as far as but we can just talk about visual stuff. I mean,
sure.
Always good to see Michael Rooker. They gave Michael Rooker so much crap during this panel, which was great.
And I will say, it was funny. I will say too, Harley's get up in this movie is far beyond what they did in Birds of Prey.
I agree.
This looks awesome.
I mean, she looks like Harley, which is great.
Yeah, and you can kind of see in this trailer how like how goofy some of these characters look would just lead you to believe that they're just going to be total patsies.
Well, the thing that I'm looking forward to is something that wasn't really in Suicide Squad was the fighting, like the concept of choreography element, and like them, like not just like the end of the movie, them trying to like do like Harley shoots the gun, they throw the like it just was like, all right.
It was missing the whole point of the Suicide Squad is like they're expendable.
Yeah. Like, well, yeah, they only have one character
in Suicide Squad, but
right.
You're gonna get a lot more of that in this one.
Yeah, getting Tropic Thunder vibes in this like jungle scene.
Right.
Survive.
This guy, I don't know. I can't remember who he plays, but
which guy?
The guy's talking where he said like genitals, heads exploding everywhere.
Oh, he looks.
His character's gonna be fun. I feel like.
Oh yeah. He's funny, man. I used to watch his YouTube videos like years ago.
This is the kind of humor I can get behind.
I dig it. I mean, it looks like it's going to be really fun.
Yeah.
And again, I told you, I mean, on I think it was the last podcast. I've come around on James Gunn with his Guardians movies. At first, I was like, whatever. But the more I've watched them, the more I've appreciated them.
I'll say the first one. I did not like the second one.
I know most people don't, and I don't hate it. I'll be honest with you, I don't hate it.
Just couldn't do it. I mean, I did it, but I can't do it again.
I hear you. Maybe give it another watch. Did you buy it?
Yeah, I did not. No.
Okay.
I'm not a Marvel completionist. I've got the majority of them, but I don't have all of them.
I got you. Well, anyway, so I mean, that looks cool.
The thing that stood out to me in this trailer, and I kind of mentioned it earlier, like when I think back on watching. I keep calling it a trailer, behind the scenes, is the John Cena moment. I love Gunn's description of his character where he says, he's the peacemaker and he'll do whatever it takes to achieve peace, no matter how many people he has to kill. And John Cena, they cut to John Cena and he's like, all right, I got that. I can do that.
Yeah.
I just like he's had some misses, but I tend to like John Cena's humor sensibility. Like when he's well written for, he can deliver well.
I agree. Yeah. I have a feeling that what is it, David CiNEMACHiNE, Polka Dot Man? I feel like Gunn is going to intentionally make him like the standout character because of how ridiculous a character like Polka Dot Man is. I feel like that's going to be the takeaway. Awesome. Like we're going to be like, but Polka Dot Man, holy crap, man!
Right.
Like I bet that I can see him just taking that into like a level to where it's just like a breakout character.
Yeah, I would like to see whoever's left at the end be some, and obviously there's the obvious ones like Harley. They're not gonna ditch that or whatever, but it would be cool to see some cast at the end where you were like, all right, I wouldn't have guessed that they would have been the ones that survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was cool, and this behind the scenes seems to indicate that there is certainly a lot of explosions in this movie.
Indeed. What do you think about Idris Elba playing Bloodsport? Do you even know who Bloodsport is? And
I don't have much.
I mean, we heard at the initial casting of Idris Elba that he was replacing Will Smith's Deadshot, and then that kind of whatever happened. If that was the case, it seemed like that changed. So maybe they just subbed. His character model looks like Deadshot without a mask. You know.
I'm sure it'll be cool. Like I enjoy Idris Elba and pretty much everything he's in. I just like of the things I'm excited for. After watching this, like that one didn't really.
Didn't stand out.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how you feel about that. Like,
I mean, I feel like
I think it's gonna be bad. I just.
I mean, well, there's not much to go on. I mean, as far as what his role is going to entail by that little sneak peek. But, I mean, with a name like Idris Elba, it's got to be something substantial.
Yeah, I mean, I think the contribution to the panel, as far as his involvement, was really just like, who's he going to play? Because everybody's been talking about who he's going to play. So finally announcing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, man, I'm super excited about this movie now. And I would never have guessed that even the morning of Fandome.
Indeed.
So another DC movie that I'm excited about, I will take it.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, that's about all I got to say about that.
Cool.
Unless you got something to add.
No, I'm let's roll.
All right. You want to talk about Chris Daughtry's performance, the echo in his songs or anything? Had a cool little collection behind him.
He did. And that was pretty much the only thing I enjoyed about the performance because it sounded like he was broadcasting from a metal tunnel.
Definitely that first song, the acoustic song, little boomy.
Yeah. Well, the second one was fine.
Yeah.
It was just the first one that.
Yeah. I was just kidding. But I mean,
I know.
So yeah, I mean, they did a little Joker mini doc thing. Jim Lee did that portfolio review. These are all just like some cool little things, but not a ton of substance in there.
Sure.
Let's see. Yeah, a lot of. I mean, Snyder Cut. We talked ad nauseum about that, so we don't really have to bring that up again. It was great. Go back, watch our video breaking down that trailer. I guess the news from it was the episodic.
Sure.
4 episodes, 1 hour a piece. That was like the major news.
And
they still have it
full release afterwards.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, that's awesome. More the better.
As good as you can hope for.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the next thing we'll really find out about it is when it's coming out. We'll see. Ryan and I are both hoping for a little, maybe an Easter debut,
tomorrow,
which would just be it. Yeah. I mean,
or the next day.
We think Easter would be very poetic. Knowing Snyder, I know that BVS opened on Easter in 2016. I think Man of Steel opened on Father's Day weekend.
Yep.
2013. Intentionally, obviously, I would imagine.
Yep. Everything's intentional with Snyder.
It is true.
We're starting to go down that path again right now, Brandon.
It's okay. It's all right. Let's go, Ryan. Let's go. 3-hour
2 hours
podcast.
So, anyways, the next panel was
yeah. So yeah, so Black Adam was the next big one.
yeah.
You kind of talked about that a little bit. I enjoyed that panel. I appreciated how much they put into the panel, considering that they haven't even started.
It's cool that they got
yet.
Boss Logic involved in it too.
Yep.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton. Like, they kind of gave some background on who the character is, just because he's not a well-known household name, which The Rock will make him that, I'm sure.
Did you appreciate when Noah Centineo came on and they talked about their workout regime? That sounded like something that would be up your alley.
You put me in a box, Brandon.
What?
Yeah, I don't.
You didn't enjoy that?
I don't work out.
Well, I can tell.
That's all you.
I can tell, Ryan. You should. You look terrible.
Yeah. So that's what you were getting at. Trying to get me to go to the gym.
Yeah.
No, but that was a cool panel. There wasn't a ton. They don't have a ton to really display. But The Rock is just the most charismatic guy out there. So he sold it even though he didn't have anything to sell.
Indeed. I mean, he dropped a lot of hints as far as, where this could lead with Superman. I mean,
yeah,
he name dropped Wonder Woman. That could have just been just for fun.
Sure.
But yeah. Very interesting.
Indeed.
I'm excited to see how that kind of ties in. Seems like they're doing their own little like Shazam, Black Adam, possibly Superman universe to the side over there, which would be awesome.
Indeed.
I guess the next one would be the Aquaman panel, which was honestly a nothing panel to me. Just James Wan. And
and not that I don't like Aquaman, it's just there's like that one's so far down the pipe and they don't have anything for it yet.
Yeah.
And so it was cool to hear him talk about Aquaman, and they had Patrick Wilson on, which is cool, but I don't know. That certainly was not a highlight panel for me.
Patty Jenkins, Gal Gadot, and our old school Wonder Woman got on and debuted the 80th logo for like 5 minutes, and we saw that was a logo. That was cool.
Seems like all the 80th anniversaries are coming around right now. Wasn't Batman like last year or 2 years
I think
ago?
so. Yeah.
Anyways,
our heroes,
cool
our superheroes are getting old, Ryan.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and then we'll get to the most entertaining panel, Shazam.
Yep.
Which was great.
It was awesome. Knocked that one out of the park.
Not a ton of news, but just
love the super dry David Sandberg pop on.
So great.
Guy's
so
amazing.
Great. Love Sinbad. I didn't know that was a thing. Like Sinbad's like the whole Mandela effect thing with Sinbad. Everybody thinking that he was in a movie called Shazam.
Yeah.
And
that they had the cast and everything that obviously they got that super young charismatic cast who just totally
not
carried
as young
that.
anymore. I mean, Jack Dylan
he
Grazer's got a mustache going on.
Little mustache.
Striking that stash, baby. Yeah.
It was cool that I found the little poster sketch thing funny.
Yeah. Little Darla. She's adorable. Adorable.
And got the title finally.
Fury of the Gods.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And David Sandberg posted on Twitter right after the thing ended. He said, "What gods? Why are they so mad?" Yes.
Yep. That's
the
like
again. I think we've said this in like 2 out of the first 3 episodes that we've we've done. But if you don't follow David Sandberg on Instagram or Twitter, you need to, because
you're missing out.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, that was cool. Pretty short,
Yep.
but just a fun little panel. Those guys are always they're a great cast, and
right.
It was just a little, good little reprieve. Get some good chuckles in, not the forced chuckles that we don't like.
That's right.
The good ones.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Take notes, directors. Take notes.
Oh yeah.
Writers.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
Old Sandberg, he's got it covered.
He does indeed.
We approve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then, I mean, I guess we don't have to talk about this, but that Wonder Woman 84 Werewolf 1984 game that they played was.
There's no need to talk about that.
Brutal.
They did
Moving
enough
on.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand the logic with that one. There's a game that has 1984 in the panel or in the name. Maybe we should.
They said it was like a game that they played, like favorite game they played on set or something. I was like, well, that did not translate. So
Yeah. Anyway, we already talked about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That was the panel right before the Batman panel. Mm-hmm. So let's just get to the Batman.
Let's do it.
Matt Reeves was there with Aisha Tyler.
Definitely the most produced, like in-house produced panel there. And it's a Batman property, as you'd expect. They would pull out all the stops for it.
Mm-hmm.
Loved how, and Snyder later that night, both Zack and Matt were complimenting each other's iterations of the character, further feeding the multiverse madness, which is awesome.
Matt Reeves said that he loved Affleck's Batman, said into wanting to see Snyder's cut come to fruition. And I love how he's like, and I actually like Ben Affleck. It's like, people have to like preface, and I actually like, it's a bad thing. That's gonna go away.
Tell it to IMDb. All right.
I know, right? We'll get to that. Yeah, he said a lot of stuff. Mainly, I guess my takeaway was this is a year 2 Batman, which we kind of assumed that it was around that time.
This whole panel, like, it was great that he was there talking, but the whole time I was just like, all right, let's see some footage.
Yeah, I texted you, and I was like, he's saying a lot, not saying much.
It was a lot of fluff, yeah, for sure.
We just wanted to see a trailer, and a trailer we got. Let's watch it.
Trailer we got. All right, give me a countdown.
Let me pull it up. Turn my volume down. Okay. 3, 2, 1, play. Start off with some duct tape.
I loved the red. It was just so different, just from the get-go.
Yeah, I agree. Did you think?
And I know they had it in the
initial
teaser,
like Comic-Con Suicide Squad trailer with the like winding like crank thing with the logos.
I did not
and the
think
duct
about
tape.
that, but
that was the very first thing that I thought. Great song choice.
Yes, this is going to be one of the better, if I had to guess, one of the better Jim Gordon performances you'll see. Jeffrey Wright's going to crush it.
I think you're right. I mean, I'm excited. I love Jeffrey Wright and anything he does.
I mean, we can say that about this whole cast.
Oh, no, the cast, top to bottom, is outstanding. There's that suit we all love.
The suit.
We're being a little facetious there.
Maybe somebody will.
This is your first time listening. Ryan and I have our quibbles with the suit, but we're getting over it.
Yeah.
All right.
We're stoked about the movie.
The movie looks awesome. Yeah. We love dark tone. This looks like David Fincher directed a Batman movie.
It's like it reminds me like Zodiac /
7
Batman. Yeah, 7 too. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, like natural light looking cinematography. Just
I love the how I can tell that I'm gonna love already how they're treating the Riddler.
Yeah.
And just how, like, he's obviously in the he's not a fully fleshed out character yet. But there's
your line. Yep.
There's the line. Oh man, I got chills.
Great line. I'm glad that they didn't use the "I'm Batman." It's a little played out, and them
Yeah.
using "I'm Vengeance" is great. It's pretty
and
perfect.
it just makes me like animated series chills.
Yeah. Love the title card treatment.
Yep. This music, like you said earlier, the music choice, the mix of Something in the Way.
It's like
Nirvana
score and Something in the Way on top. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great.
Finally, like you said, I agree. The eye black finally pretending or acknowledging that it happens.
Yeah.
And they did it tastefully too. Like it looks pretty awesome.
Yeah. People keep saying emo Batman, but that's just haters. Y'all gonna hate.
Yeah. Well, if it was the Snyder Cut trailer just auto played, I'm like, I want to keep watching it, but
let's do it again.
That later. People would have said emo Batman about
just with
anything.
Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson was
yeah.
I mean, he's just got that look, like his hair, and he's just got that look, which I think lends well to what they're trying to do.
One thing that we haven't mentioned is supposedly Colin Farrell is in this trailer, and
oh my
you
gosh.
would not know.
No, you would not.
If that is indeed him, and I mean,
I sent you a text afterwards. I was like, "Look at these jokers saying this is Colin Farrell."
Yeah, seems like it is.
You're like, Ryan, I think that is Colin Farrell.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, if he's playing Cobblepot, that guy looks like Cobblepot. So
sure.
it seems like they're using prosthetic, or he's Colin Farrell as a skin changer. We'll see.
Yeah. I mean,
I really like the Batcave.
And it was very little that you saw there, but you want to talk about like Oscar-winning makeup? Holy cow!
Right.
Taking somebody who's like, if people saw Colin, like everybody knows who Colin Farrell is. If you showed them a picture of that guy, no chance.
Yeah,
no chance.
Yeah. What's also amazing about this trailer is how cohesive this trailer is, but knowing that Reeves said 25%. 25%. It's like it's impressive, man. I mean, I think they made a great stride. It's kind of showing what they're doing with this film, what the tone is,
right.
And especially with what little footage they've been able to shoot so far.
No doubt. Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man. I mean, like we were saying, I mean, I was hoping for a more, I guess embracing the comic side of the Batverse, instead of going back to the well with the dark and gritty like Nolan type thing. And this seems like
this doesn't even
doubling
seem like
down.
a Nolan type thing to me after watching this. Like, so I saw a tweet. I don't even know who it was from the other day, but something along the lines of, in the Nolan verse, Batman Begins starts out and immediately all of the criminals in Gotham are scared. Crime rate's way down. And this one, it almost seems like he's a myth. Nobody, like, is he making a difference at all? Like, I just feel like this is going to, although it's more real than, like Ben Affleck's, the Zack Snyder iteration. I feel like it's going to feel a lot different than.
Well, when I say like the Nolan approach, I just mean like grounded.
Yeah, I get you.
And this
the
seems...
good news is too, like with the multiverse thing, we might be able to get both.
Yeah,
with Ben Affleck and cross my fingers, and
then yep,
Reeves' verse. The Riddler in this is going to be, and I mentioned while we're watching the trailer, but Paul Dano's going to crush it.
Yeah. Well, one thing to point out with that is that I think Reeves even mentioned this, that these aren't the fully realized versions of these villains, nor Batman really.
Sure.
Like even like the Riddler. I mean, isn't his name like Edward Nashton instead of Edward?
It's not Enigma.
Maybe he adopts the Edward Enigma, name later.
Sure.
But this is just like more of an origin tale. Same thing with the Penguin and Catwoman. I imagine that
I would not. I wouldn't even be surprised if that doesn't even come into play with his movies, just because they are so grounded. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's something that Matt Reeves might kind of feel like is a little on the nose for what he's trying to do.
Right, which is another reason why I compare it to Nolan. It's just a similar thing that Nolan did.
Yeah, that's true.
But
yeah, we talked right after this one that came out too, or this trailer get played, and we were so like we're open to the movie, but we were just not interested in it really with the suit issues that we had. And then
I mean we were pretty deflated once, because we were both, I mean, we had our like hopes kind of squashed with hoping that Reeves was going to do an Affleck Batman film, like was, I guess kind of broadcast in the news, but slowly kind of started to realize that wasn't happening. We kind of made our peace with it, and then we were just like, all right, this is what we're getting. Let's get excited for it. And but then they released the first footage of the suit, and we were like, not a fan of that.
And like I kind of explained we're in a CiNEMACHiNE group text, and I was talking with Al about this a little bit earlier this week about how I didn't like the suit. And with comics, for me, the aesthetic really, because it's so visual, really makes or breaks the story, like whether I like the comic or not. And I've found over the years that translates to film, and even the animated stuff. If I don't like the animated style, I tend to, if I see a trailer for something and I'm like, I don't like how that's drawn, like it may be a storyline that I really love too, I just for whatever reason I'm not as like drawn to it. So I think when I saw that suit, I was like, that part of me was a little bit let down. And that being the first thing that came out about the movie was just kind of not great.
Right. I mean, we both kind of are hoping that, and we said this before, but we kind of hope this is, knowing that it's a year 2 Batman, we hope that it's still like a cobbled together suit that he's just kind of fashioned, that he'll eventually get a more like, defined, stylized, like what we can
emphasis on the cowl and the collar.
Definitely. I mean, a cobbler made it. When we say cobbled together, like Geppetto made it for him. But yeah, but I mean, that's the thing, Brandon, about suits. I mean, I'm not I love the Dark Knight trilogy, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises suit. I love the Begins suit.
Begins, but yeah.
The others, I mean, the Rises and Dark Knight both kind of use the same suit, but they're fine. They work within the world, and that's kind of what I'm like going into this one, saying, all right, I mean, it works within this world.
Right.
And hopefully, if there's a story beat for it, if there's a reason for it, I'll buy into it and I'll accept it. But I don't have to love it, and but I can get over it.
Sure.
So,
dude, after watching this trailer, I have a feeling that it's not going to be an issue.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So,
cool.
For sake of time, we should probably move along to the next thing. We're at an hour 20 right now. We just keep going, Brandon. We just keep going.
I got nothing to do.
Yeah. So I guess staying kind of in the Batman realm, but kind of shifting gears to the Snyder side of things. There was a couple of polls that were put up earlier this week, one by AT&T and one by IMDb.
Yep. I think that which one came first? I can't remember. IMDb.
The IMDb came first.
Yeah.
Because it was a multi-day thing. Where basically on IMDb, on Twitter, they were, and I think they also did it on other platforms as well, or maybe other Batman
Instagram, yeah.
But it was basically a Batman bracket, and Batfleck won. He beat Keaton in the first round and then beat Bale in the finals.
I think he beat. He was against somebody else in the first round.
Oh,
Clooney.
sorry, second round. Yeah. The first round were kind of the throwaways.
I was honestly pretty surprised that he beat Keaton, knowing how people kind of hold Keaton as like the ideal Batman.
Even if they didn't, how much they hate Snyder.
Yeah. So that was surprising.
Love to hate Snyder.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but what's crazy about whenever they started the poll for Christian Bale and Affleck, Christian Bale had a very big lead.
He jumped.
It was
way
like 60,
out. It was like
40.
Yeah, 60-40
with like 2,000 and something votes or something. And then somebody poured gasoline on the fire.
Play. Yeah. Then Snyder dropped a bomb on Vero. I think he said like, you know what to do or something.
Yep. Didn't say go vote for Affleck.
Yeah.
But
people know.
Just like Snyder.
If you know, you know.
He's everything he does has a little bit of meaning in it. So,
right.
Yeah.
Then the results just totally flipped. And Batfleck won.
Yay.
Which, any win's a win.
Now, we're bringing this up for a reason.
Right.
This is not just like, oh, he won the poll. We're so happy.
Batfleck won a fan poll.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute.
He's going to come back, right?
Well, he is. We know that. He's coming back.
You know what
for
I
the
mean.
Flash. Yeah. Now, the other poll that was put up by AT&T was basically, what are you most excited for with the Snyder Cut? And the 4 options were Darkseid, Black Suit Superman, more Cyborg and the Flash, Ben Affleck's Batman.
And it wasn't more Ben Affleck's Batman. It was just Ben Affleck's Batman.
Yes. Yeah, not more. Just.
Yeah, which the first 3 options are all stuff that has not been seen or was not seen in the theatrical. And
for the most part, except for the Cyborg and Flash thing, but like they are new characters for that movie.
Well, more, I mean, he says more, or they say more Cyborg and Flash, and then for the last result, it's just Ben Affleck's Batman.
Right.
Which is just a little curious. It's almost like they're doing a little bit of market research here, which is awesome. And it seems to be something that we've talked about. Jason Kilar here, the CEO of Warner Media. He is a total ears to the ground guy.
Yep.
This totally seems like something that he would have facilitated, or people under him could have facilitated.
Right. And to give context for people that may not know, I mean, it seems like we've heard rumblings that, AT&T, Warner Media, HBO Max, they want to be in the Ben Affleck business, especially the Ben Affleck Batman business. Whether that's furthering, the Justice League story and or possibly doing, a mini series of what Affleck was intended to do with his Deathstroke movie. And, a couple weeks ago, they had a big fan push, the Think Batfleck fan push, to kind of just test the waters and see if there's an appetite. Now there's this kind of stuff. We had the news that Affleck's returning.
It seems like a little bit too coincidental to be,
Yes, this is. I have no there's no doubt in my mind that this is not intentional.
Right.
So it's pretty cool.
We'll see what it means.
And as far as the poll goes, it was a landslide as far as Ben Affleck's Batman. People are more stoked for Ben Affleck's Batman over Darkseid, something we've never seen. Black Suit Superman, something we've never seen. Cyborg and Flash.
I'm a Superman fan,
but
and I'm super stoked for Black Suit Superman. And I voted for Ben Affleck's Batman because I want to see more Ben Affleck's Batman.
I do too.
He's kind of the linchpin for
this whole
everything.
thing.
Yeah. So his participation is representative of more than just Batman.
Yeah.
or his Batman.
And like we've said before, we feel like, he just needs that push as far as knowing that there's a demand out there for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously, he seems like he's in a much better place now, and seems like, he's super stoked about Snyder getting to complete the vision that Affleck himself signed up for.
And Warner Media, the kind of creative control seems to be heading back in the direction of filmmakers.
Exactly. So, filmmaker driven, which is where it wasn't. And that's what he had such a problem with, is how they just kind of just took the reins of that ship and just derailed it.
Sure.
Another thing that we should mention is, so after DC Fandome, the Real in Motion podcast had a guest. They had Zack Snyder on the podcast. He dropped in for a little while and dropped a few little tidbits. And one thing that he
dropped some tea,
dropped some tea on me. So he actually mentioned Snyder's. They asked, so Affleck's agreed to do The Flash. I'm paraphrasing. So it seems like an inevitable conclusion that he'd be like, well, you could be like, well, hey man, if you're gonna sign up to do this Flash movie, I mean, why don't you come over here and let's finish the story that we were working on, that we signed up for.
Right. And
Snyder just like knocked on wood for it. So
yeah.
And Snyder also said that he didn't know about Affleck signing on for the Flash. I don't believe that for a second. You can.
I don't think
Hollywood, man.
I honestly don't even think it matters. The fact that he is back in the game, and they had this previous relationship, and it's something that's undone, and all of the things have shifted the way we just talked about. It seems like one of those perfect storm things.
Yeah.
And I would just be shocked if it wasn't at least discussed.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, I would have a hard time believing that it wasn't. But yeah, I mean, that's promising, man. I would love, as anybody that knows me, that really knows me,
Brandon
Affleck,
dreams about Batfleck all the time.
I love that version of the character. I follow Best of Ben Affleck on Twitter. Okay. So
I get daily text messages from him. Look! Him and Anna look so happy today.
I don't say it like that.
I know what you say in your.
There's some very amusing photos that account posts with some great captions. But yeah,
all right.
Fingers crossed.
So I think that's about wraps it. We're gonna jump back on here. Really in the next couple weeks again. They've got the second part of Fandome coming up. Which is kind of more TV loaded, but
also there's a few things on there worth note.
There's first off, it's titled "Explore the Multiverse," which sign me up. I'm all about learning more about that. And they announced a panel that's related to the Snyder Cut, which is a look behind the music, which is interesting because we haven't heard any of the music yet.
Unless those little teasers that Snyder put out pre-Fandome, that score that was in there seemingly could be Junkie XL.
Yeah.
Or Tom Hulkenberg, as he is going by now, his real name.
Right. But there's rumors about more Snyder Cut information. There's rumors about potentially a Batfleck show.
I mean,
on HBO Max.
It would be TV.
Yeah, it would be. And
Boss Logic teased it and deleted a tweet.
There's some curious Twitter activity going on about this.
Indeed. We try not to get too excited. We've had our hopes and dreams just squashed before.
We've learned not to.
That is the price you pay being a DC fan. But
things are
we're whooped dogs. We just keep coming back.
That's right.
But things are looking good.
Right. All right, Brandon. So I guess it's about time we signed off. It's bedtime.
Yeah.
So one thing that we have really enjoyed about beginning this process is engaging with you all on Twitter and on YouTube in the comments, and really kind of trying to get involved and start community around our love for superhero movies. Right now that's DC heavy loaded because that's what's been talked about. So we do encourage you, follow us on Twitter at CAPECAST Show. Let us know what you think about the videos in the comments on YouTube. If there's stuff you think we can improve, there's stuff you like. If you just want to chat superhero movies, let's do it. And we're also now, we've got our website up, so you can get more information about this show, and then our CiNEMACHiNE podcast, where it's a more general movie podcast, on our website at cinemachinepod.com. And I think that about does it, Brandon.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Always.
Sooner the better.